name is Dr. Jane Eli, and I'm a healer, traditionally trained by my grandparents and other traditional indigenous healers, including Hawaiian healers. And I am a simple person. I love a very simple life. I'm also clinically trained as a counselor. When I first moved into Waimea Valley, I renovated my little hale and decided I wanted to organic garden. So I built boxes, planted fruit trees. I loved the gardening, and in the valley, anything you stick in the ground grows because it's such rich, beautiful soil. So I lived there for 5 years. I renovated the hale and I worked out of my home. I started to become very, very ill. And year by year, it got worse and worse. First, it started with an upper respiratory. I thought it was a cold, and it was a cold that never went away. And then I started getting skin rashes. And the skin rashes would pop out around my eyes, my neck, the back of my neck. I'd wake up in the morning with my neck full of rash. And then I started getting sinus infections. And the sinus infections wouldn't go away. And so slowly, I began to educate myself. I did not know that Pioneer had a presence in Waimea Valley when I moved in. I never would have bought my house. I never would have, quote unquote, tried to organic garden, because what would happen is they would plow and plow and plow. And 6 days a week they're out there spraying and plowing, spraying and plowing. And what would happen is it would all drift right over the cliff of Waimea and come down right into the valley. And my house was on the corner of Menehune Road and Menehune Place, and the cloud would just drift right down and sift right in. And so they would be sending out these spraying notices 6 days a week, and is because I worked and lived from in my home. It was like, where do you go to get out of this? And so over this time period, I began to educate myself about genetically modified organisms, and also what they were spraying with, and what was, chemically coming through the air as an unseen toxin. Pioneer's answer is, when we're spraying, close your windows. 6 days a week, from 7 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. at night? I don't think so. And so, and then they said they would put up a dust mitigation fence that, we have photographs of these plumes of dirt going 80, 90 feet up in the air. So these little dust mitigation fences and these, plumes of tornadoes of toxic dirt, plus whatever it is they're spraying, and they would spray regardless of the trade winds. If the trade winds were coming into the valley, they would still spray. I became highly sensitized to the smell, and I could actually taste it in my mouth. It would be like almost a metallic taste that I would taste whenever they were spraying. In Hawaii, everybody on the west side, we get out, we walk, we talk, we walk the dogs, we walk the goats. We're up and down, on the levee, by the river. Every night everybody goes out and walks and talks, how was your day, that kind of thing. And it's all ohana, and it's all very friendly. And so we would compare notes with one another. And what became very apparent to me was that there was a huge spike in cancer. And my neighbor down the road, a spike in Parkinson's disease, which is a form of cancer. Respiratory infections, particularly children, were becoming more and more ill. The rate of premature births on the west side has spiked in the last 6 to 7 years. Pioneer and Syngenta and the other companies on the west side are saying that there is no scientific evidence to say that what they are doing is creating illness, toxins, putting toxins in our water system, in our air, in our food, my little organic garden. The onus of proof is actually on the companies to prove to us. You see, it's the wrong way around. The paradigm is flipped because of the amount of money and greed that is involved with this. And I also believe that it's a fear-based paradigm. Well, if we're causing or bringing all of these jobs to your region, if we pull out, you'll be destitute, there'll be unemployment, there'll be, families out on the streets. That's all fear-based paradigm, and it's all fear-based to keep people numb, dumb, and out in the fields. And, they're out there spraying with no masks, no hazmat suits, and they're taking all of that home. It's walking in the front door, and it's polluting their own children. Everyone understood why I was leaving. And one of my neighbors down the road, she said, we can't leave, but also we're telling our children that they have to leave. So, you see, it's broken the family as well. It's all about money, greed, power, and control. And it's the old paradigm, and it's the old boy system. It's the big 5 families of Hawaii. And they are land rich, and it's land they've stolen. It does not belong to them. It's leasehold land. It's not sovereign to them, those families, because they are not sovereign families. They're like the rest of us. They're guests on the island. The sovereign people of Hawaii own that land. And these companies are consciously intending harm to the water, to the plants, to the animals, to the humans, and to Mama Earth. And this is completely unconscionable. Through suffering, we are waking up. And I believe that we've reached critical mass now in education. It actually makes me very hopeful, because one day I want to go back to my valley in Waimea and live there. I want to live with clean water, with my ohana, with the children that should be there, with the elders. We sit, we talk story. I want to be able to go back there and breathe clean air and have my organic garden.